Okay, so we hear a lot about millionaires, the flashy investments, the big salaries.
Hmm.
But what about the stuff that goes on behind the scenes, the sort of less glamorous habits that actually build wealth?
Yeah, that's exactly where the real insights are. It's often not about striking it rich overnight.
Right.
The research, like from the Millionaire Next Door, Stanley and Danko's book, and newer reports like that 2019 WealthX one,
Yeah, I know those.
they consistently show something like 80% of U.S. millionaires are self-made. It's about consistency, these habits we're talking about.
Okay, so that's our mission for this deep dive then. Let's unpack those, under the radar habits.
Exactly.
Give you listening a kind of shortcut to the behaviors that really matter, the ones that maybe don't make headlines but actually move the needle financially.
Definitely. And one of the first ones, it might sound kind of mundane, is how they handle subscriptions.
Subscriptions. Really?
Yeah, really. Think about it. Some research suggests the average American is spending, what, like $273 a month on them?
Wow, that much. That adds up fast. Over 3 grand a year.
Exactly. Over $3,200 potentially, just drifting away on stuff you maybe don't even use much.
Yeah, easily done.
But what millionaires often do is they're much more intentional. They actually review these things regularly, like quarterly.
Okay, so they schedule it, put it on the calendar.
Pretty much, yeah. It's about deliberately asking, am I getting value here?
Yeah.
Do I need 3 streaming services? Am I using this software?
Right, that makes sense. It's not about being stingy, it's about being conscious of where the money's going. Value for money.
Precisely. We heard from one wealth manager, their clients often end up canceling like 20, even 30% of their subscriptions each year after doing these reviews.
That's significant.
And here's the kicker, that money doesn't just disappear into general spending.
Ah, okay. What happens to it?
It gets redirected,
Yeah.
straight into investments usually.
Smart. So they plug the leak and immediately put that cash to work.
Yep. There was one example, a client saved something like $4,800 a year just from these subscription audits.
$4,800.
Yeah. And then you think about compounding that year after year.
Oh, yeah. The growth on that becomes huge over time. It really shows how small, consistent actions add up.
It really does. Which kind of leads nicely into the next habit, creating what they call artificial scarcity.
Artificial scarcity. Okay, what does that mean in practice? Sounds a bit theoretical.
It's actually pretty practical. It basically means making your money a bit harder to get to deliberately.
How so?
So many millionaires, even with good incomes, they'll automate a chunk of their money, say 20%, maybe up to 40%, straight into investment accounts.
Before it even hits their main checking account.
Exactly. Before they really have a chance to think about spending it.
Huh. So it's like paying yourself first, but supercharged. It prevents impulse buys because the money just isn't easily available.
Precisely. It forces them, in a way, to live on less than they make. And that's often why you see people with huge salaries living paycheck to paycheck,
Yeah.
while others earning less are building serious wealth. It's the system, the automation.
It's the discipline built into the system.
Right. You mentioned an example of a business owner.
Ah, yes, the one with the multiple accounts. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so this person had 3 main checking accounts. One, strictly for fixed bills, mortgage, utilities, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Another for discretionary spending, fun stuff, eating out, but with a hard limit,
A budget, essentially.
a very clear budget, yeah. And a third, smaller one for unexpected things.
Yeah.
But the key was, once that discretionary account was empty for the month,
That was it.
that was it. No
Yeah.
dipping into the other accounts. It just stopped the spending.
That takes real discipline, but I can see how effective it would be, creating those boundaries.
It really works for some people. Okay, moving on, the third habit is about relationships, specifically cultivating connections with money mentors.
Money mentors. So not like a paid financial advisor.
No, totally different. These are usually people who are, say, 10 or 15 years further down the financial road than you are. People who've achieved the kind of success you're aiming for. And it's about building genuine relationships, not just transactions.
And the goal is to tap into their experience.
Exactly. Before making big decisions, buying property, changing careers, maybe restructuring a business, they'll often talk it through with these mentors.
Get that real-world perspective.
Yeah, get insights from someone who's actually done it. Someone who's navigated those specific challenges. It's different from theoretical advice.
How do they even find these mentors? It's not like they advertise.
Well, it's often about being intentional about where you spend your time. Maybe joining certain clubs or volunteering for specific nonprofits like financial literacy groups.
Putting yourself in the right environment to meet these kinds of people naturally.
Right. It's strategic networking,
Yeah.
but focused on learning and mentorship. Like someone said, advice from someone who's been there is just invaluable compared to reading it in a book.
Yeah, that practical wisdom. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Habit number 4. This one shifts the focus away from just income. It's about obsessively tracking net worth.
Yes, this is a really crucial mindset shift. We tend to focus on salary, right? How much we earn.
Sure, it's the number most people know.
But income can be misleading. You can earn a lot and spend it all. That's lifestyle inflation.
Right. Nothing left over.
Exactly. Net worth your assets minus your liabilities. That's the real scorecard. It shows your actual financial progress.
So they're tracking the bottom line, not just the top line.
Pretty much. Many use apps or simple spreadsheets. They check it regularly, maybe monthly, like a financial health checkup.
Keeps them focused on the big picture, the actual wealth building.
Totally. There's that great quote from an executive. What was it?
Oh, the one about vanity and sanity.
Yeah. Income is vanity, cash flow is sanity, but net worth is reality.
That nails it.
It really does.
Yeah.
Income looks good, cash flow keeps the lights on, but net worth shows if you're actually getting wealthier.
And tracking it holds you accountable, right? You can see if your spending is getting out of whack, if lifestyle creep is setting in.
Absolutely. It provides that objective measure. That wealth advisor mentioned something interesting too,
What was that?
that their most successful clients always know their approximate net worth. They might have to look up their exact salary, but the net worth figure, they know it.
Wow, that really shows where their focus lies. Okay, habit 5 gets into something often seen as taboo, talking about money.
Yeah, it's usually such a private topic for most people,
Mm-hmm.
but many millionaires have trusted circles, friends, peers, where they do talk about money openly.
Not bragging, though.
No, definitely not. It's more about sharing strategies, challenges, actual numbers sometimes. Accountability partners, you could say?
So structured conversations almost, like a mastermind group for finances.
It can be, yeah. Sometimes regular meetings, maybe sharing progress reports, discussing specific financial topics. It creates accountability and shared learning.
Interesting. It breaks down that isolation that often surrounds money issues, and there's research supporting this.
There is. Sarah Stanley Fallow's work found millionaires spend significantly more time talking about finances and investing with friends than those with lower net worth.
They see it as learning, not boasting.
Exactly. A chance to learn from each other's successes and mistakes.
Okay, habit 6, taxes. Something most of us dread.
Huh. Yeah, but they tend to approach it differently. Not just as a burden, but more like instructions.
Instructions? How so?
They see the tax code as signaling what kind of financial behaviors the government wants to encourage through deductions, credits, etc.
So it's about understanding the rules to play the game effectively, not finding dodgy loopholes.
Precisely. It's about understanding legitimate deductions, the timing of income and expenses, using tax-advantaged accounts properly, strategic charitable giving.
Stuff most people don't spend much time thinking about.
Right. The average millionaire might spend, say, 15, 20 hours a year just on tax planning, often with professionals. It's proactive.
And you mentioned some strategies that might seem counterintuitive.
Yeah, like maybe accelerating some business expenses into the current year to lower the immediate tax bill.
Okay.
Or maximizing contributions to things like 529 college savings plans early on, partly for the state tax deductions. It's long-term strategic thinking.
It's treating tax planning as part of the overall financial strategy.
Got it. Okay, number 7 feels very different in today's world. Stealth wealth.
Yeah, basically living below your means and not advertising your wealth.
So the opposite of flashy Instagram posts.
Exactly. Think reliable, maybe older cars instead of the latest luxury model. Comfortable homes, not sprawling mansions. Quality clothes, but not covered in designer logos.
Why, though? Is it just about avoiding judgment?
That can be part of it, sure, but it's also strategic. It helps control lifestyle inflation, reduces unwanted financial requests from people,
Ah, I can see that.
and fundamentally it preserves capital. Money not spent on depreciating luxury goods is money that can be invested and grow. Less stress, too, probably. And there's data on this.
Yep. That Spectrum Group study found something like 61% of people worth over $5 million actively downplay their wealth.
That's a majority.
It is. Like one millionaire said, the real luxury is the freedom and choices nobody knows you have, not the car everyone sees depreciating in the driveway.
That's a powerful way to think about it. Freedom over flash. Okay, so those are the 7 core habits, but you also noted some other interesting patterns. Reading was one.
Oh yeah, huge readers, often 2 or 3 books a month.
Wow. What kind of books?
Usually nonfiction, Business, psychology, history, biographies, things that offer insights, frameworks for thinking, lessons from the past.
So it's part of their continuous learning.
Definitely. Like that tech millionaire example, blocking out time specifically for reading each morning, he felt it directly impacted his investment success.
Deliberate learning. Okay, what about windfalls, like bonuses or inheritances?
Very different approach than most.
Hmm.
The temptation is often to splurge, right?
Yeah, new car, big holiday.
But the habit here is to allocate a huge chunk, like 70, 80, even 90% straight to investments first.
Invest first, enjoy later, maybe?
Pretty much. Secure the future growth first, then maybe enjoy a small portion. It reverses the usual spend then save what's left mentality.
Makes sense. And debt. They're not totally debt averse.
Not entirely, but they're very strategic. They hate high interest, consumer debt, credit cards, personal loans. Avoid it completely if possible.
Right.
But they understand using low interest debt as leverage, maybe for appreciating assets, like investment properties. Good debt versus bad debt.
A clear distinction. What about shopping habits? Are they just super frugal?
Not necessarily frugal in the sense of always buying the cheapest. It's more about value.
Value.
Yeah, finding that intersection of quality, longevity, and price. They'll research big purchases. They prefer stuff that lasts. Think, buy it once, buy it right.
So quality over quantity. Less throwaway consumption. That 30-day list idea fits here too, right?
Yeah.
Waiting before buying non-essentials.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It curbs impulse buys and ensures they really want or need something. It's thoughtful spending.
And underlying all this seems to be a commitment to ongoing financial education.
Absolutely. That research by Fala, again showing they spend, on average, over 8 hours a month just on financial planning and learning. Reading, podcasts, seminars.
Wow, 8 hours a month. That's significant dedication.
It is. Like the entrepreneur who blocks out time each week just to catch up on financial news and research. It's proactive self-improvement.
And finally, resilience. How they handle setbacks.
Yeah, crucial point. Financial journeys are rarely smooth. There will be downturns, mistakes.
Like the 2008 crisis.
Exactly. But a key is they don't see these as total failures. They see them as learning opportunities. That person who lost a lot in 2008, they learned invaluable lessons about risk management that served them well later.
So learn and adapt. Don't give up.
That's the mindset.
Okay, so pulling it all together. What's really striking is that none of these habits fundamentally require you to be rich to start.
Not at all. They're mostly behavioral. About discipline, mindset, consistency. Anyone can start auditing subscriptions or automating savings.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely. It's accessible. Maybe they aren't talked about much because, well, they're not very exciting.
Probably. Auditing subscriptions isn't exactly thrilling news.
Right.
And maybe because they become so ingrained, people don't even think of them as special habits anymore. Plus, talking about wealth-building actions can feel awkward sometimes.
Sure, social sensitivities. So for you listening, if this resonates, what's a good starting point? Don't try to do everything at once.
Definitely not. Pick one. Just one habit that feels doable for you right now. Maybe it is the subscription audit. Or setting up that first automatic transfer to savings or investments.
Start small, build momentum.
Exactly. Get that one habit locked in, make it routine, then maybe add another later.
Because it's the consistency over time, that compounding effect, that really builds the financial freedom.
That's the whole game. It takes time, it's not instant, but it's reliable, it works.
So a final thought for everyone listening, looking at these habits, the audits, the mentors, the net worth tracking, the stealth wealth, which one could you start implementing, even in a small way, starting today? What's that first step for your future financial well-being?